Rev up your engines!
Ian Woodsworth says, Scotty, what do you think of the 5-liter 302 V8 Foxbody Mustangs? Is the fuel-injected engine better than the early carbureted ones? Yeah, I agree with all those sentiments. Those 302 V8s were excellent engines. I mean, they were really well made. I don't like the Foxbody Mustangs. I don't know. It's, you know, what you see. I think they're ugly. I don't like the look of them. I like the classic Mustang. But those engines, I got a customer with one of those Foxbodies, 302. He souped it up and he gets like 500-something horsepower. It scares me to drive it. I put it in first gear and take off, and it's just spinning down the road. It's got so much horsepower. Those are great engines. There's no arguing that. I just don't like the look of the Foxbody. That's the thing that I got against the Foxbodies. I don't like the way they look. Tattoo Red says, Scotty, what do you think about the 90s Broncos? Well, those were well made, you know. They're like old tanks. They were absolute gas hogs. I mean, you just sucked the gas in and flew it out of the exhaust. They're horrendous gas hogs, but they were fun to drive. And if you didn't mind a trucky ride, they're nothing like the modern SUVs where you got a real smooth ride. I mean, a couple weeks ago, I was road testing the Ford Expedition, the $80,000 Platinum Max one, and my wife loved how it rode like a dream, you know. But, you know, in a 90s Bronco, you feel the feelings in your teeth when you hit bumps with those. But a lot of guys liked them. They were a decent, especially if they were 4-wheel drive, they were a decent off-road thing to toy around with. Christian Torres says, Scotty, I know you hate French cars, but are Renault and Peugeot better quality made in France than other countries like China or India? How about Volkswagens built in Germany versus China or India? Yeah, you know, that is true. I just got back from England, and they sell a lot of French cars in England, and a lot of the English guys love them. The ones that are built there, they seem to have better quality. I talked to a guy that had 300,000 miles, because even though they used to be in the European Union, the English go by miles. Their speedometers don't say kilometers. They say miles per hour. Their speed limit is in miles per hour. And the same thing with Volkswagens built in Germany. I know people in Germany, and they love the Volkswagens that are made in Germany, and they get hundreds of thousand miles out of them, so they probably are better made than the ones that they make in China or India. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Cityscape says, Scotty, I need a new oil pan gasket on my Chrysler Voyager 3.3 V6. Can I use sealant instead of a gasket? Regards from Berlin, Germany. Okay, well, most of those don't have a gasket. They just have silicone glue on it in the first place when they made them in the factory. So, yes, of course, you can just use sealant. You want to use good sealant. When I do those things, I use this big American company. I'm sure they sell the stuff in Germany. The company's called Permatex. And they make a gasket sealer in a can that's real thick. That's called Permatex The Right Stuff. It's all capitalized. And that stuff's great. The only thing you got to do is take the old pan off and then clean it really good. You use a really fine wire brush and get rid of all of the old gasket material on the pan and on the bottom of the engine block, and then put a nice layer of the right stuff on and bolt it off. The cool thing about the right stuff is you put it on, you bolt it on. By the time you're done, it's tacky enough that you can fill it up and you don't have to wait 8-10 hours for the sealer to set. It's great stuff. Permatex, the right stuff. Peter Masanga says, Scotty, I have an 07 Subaru Impreza with 124,000 kilometers. Poor shifting during deceleration. What should I do? Will changing ATF fluid solve the problem? Probably not, but it's worth a try. What the heck? You know, I would change all the fluid in the filter and I'd put in fully synthetic fluid, give it 300 miles of driving and pray it helps. Because those vehicles have extremely weak automatic transmissions, and odds are yours is probably starting to go out. It cost a fortune to rebuild the transmissions on those things correctly. And as long as it's upshifting okay, and maybe it does a little weird when you're decelerating, I've had customers have those things and they drove them years that way and they still worked okay, and they just lived with that little bit of a problem. Ramblin' Ram says, I got a 99 GMC Safari. Runs fine, but if I drive more than like 20 miles a day, the tranny will start to slip and the check engine light comes on. It goes away on short trips. Okay, first thing you want to do, get it scanned, get the trouble code, give me the exact trouble code you want me to get. I got to know that, and there's thousands of codes. I can't guess. It's a wild guess. It's probably something wrong with the transmission, though, knowing the GMCs. And if it is, you're going to have to get a rebuilt one put in. From my experience of those things, guys don't rebuild them all that well. You're better to buy a factory remanufactured one that comes with a 2 or 3 year warranty and go that route if you want to keep it. But if you don't want to keep it, get rid of it now before it's serious and doesn't do it all the time. You can't even go 20 miles, then nobody will buy it if you want to sell it.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.